Hello, I'm Kevin Enders, Senior Global Product Manager at Dell Technologies, and I'm here with Marlo Gaddis to talk about her journey in K12, education, and what districts are navigating today. Marlo, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Indeed, it is a pleasure to be here. And one of the things I want to start off with before we get into some deeper questions is really what we call the 5 before we dive.
Awesome.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What first drew you to education?
I would love to say that it was a deep, meaningful connection, but I will tell you, mostly it was that I loved bossing my little sister around when I was little. But no, I think mostly it was being able to have an impact on others' lives.
Indeed. Before Dell, what experience most shaped how you approach your work today?
I think that's interesting because I have a 30-plus year career in education. So what I will say to you is leadership is important, and I learned so much from the leaders, both good and not so good. And that approach has taught me how to lead from whatever seat I'm sitting in most.
I like that. What's one learner-centric moment or lesson that stayed with you over these 30 years?
I think it was as a learner in high school, I had a teacher who taught me that hard work was important, even in subjects that I was not very good at to start with. And so putting in the time and the effort can lead up to some really great outcomes. I think it was probably the best way for me as a learner, as somebody who was helping shape learners. I think, strangely as it is, my time leading during COVID probably taught me the most from a parent, community, and district perspective.
Very good. So outside of work, what really helps you reset?
Anytime I have with my son, really and truly. My son is a bright light. And so anytime I can spend with him is always a good time for me.
There we go. That's beautiful. What's a cause or community effort that you care about and why?
So I believe in anything that is focused on belonging and inclusion. I think I was sharing with my team recently that having grown up as someone who was bullied or felt not included in things, it is a big thing that I'm constantly aware of, where people are being excluded or not included. And I would like for people to feel seen, heard, and understood.
That's important. Inclusion is important in this society.
It is.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. So
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Let's take a moment now that we've heard those key 5 points. Let's dive into more of your perspective.
Sure.
Okay. So you've lived the full arc of K through 12.
I have.
From the classroom to the curriculum leadership elements to serving as a CTO in one of the largest districts in the country.
Yes.
That's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
You've sat in the seat that today's district leaders are sitting in now. So what does, from a practitioner's point of view or from a practitioner's lens, what do you think that they often miss?
So I think there are so many things on districts, on teachers, on communities, that quite often we tend to, and I'm guilty of this in my time as well, as a leader and as a teacher, we want to make everything a checklist. And we want to say, all right, we've done this, right? We've addressed this. And instead, quite often, we're not making it embedded into the work that we do from here on out. So the intentionality of looking at things, strategic abandonment, figuring out how things fit together and making connections so that we're not literally throwing everything on a plate for educators and for students and for leaders, but instead really looking at what's the diet of the things that we put on a plate to determine what connections and what really matters.
I like that. The diet of things that we put on a plate to determine really what's going to be most nutritious.
Yeah, and impactful.
That's right. That's right. I've got to ask another question
Sure.
given that last response. Dell brings together strategists who worked inside education systems, not just around them. Okay, how does that lived experience change the kind of conversation Dell can have with K through 12 leaders?
So the interesting thing is that no two districts are the same, right? No two schools are the same. No two leaders are the same. And so having the shared experience of our K-12 strategists, we all come from very different backgrounds. We've sat in some of the same seats, but the perspective we bring can be very, very different. And so one of the things I'll say is that some trust and credibility that we bring to the team, like we've sat in the seats. We're not the people who are here to make sure you buy this model or that model. But instead, we're there to help solve problems. And because we've sat in those seats, it's so very important. So we serve as advisors, not as vendors, right? So even though we work for, that, I like to look at us as partners rather than somebody who is there to harass or understand what it is that we want them to buy. Our goal is to really figure out how to solve the challenges ahead of them.
Credible, trusted advisors.
Yes.
That's important.
Yes.
Indeed. So building on that, you've talked about the risk of fragmented investments leading to fragmented outcomes. Where do you see that most often in districts, and what changes when leaders design around a whole system instead?
So the ecosystem's important, and not just the technology ecosystem, but also the human ecosystem that is put together. So when we think about this, the silos of education, and it's the same in any kind of industry, but when we have silos, it prevents us from having the most impact on kids, because our job, no matter what seat you sit in, our job is to make sure that every student reaches their potential, right? And has a successful either career, enlistment, employment, their schooling, all of those things. So how we approach a school district is so very important, that we are looking at it from multiple groups in the school. So academics, finance, transportation, our school cafeteria, the first person
Really
our
important.
kids see
That's right.
every day may be someone in the cafeteria or someone on a school bus. So how we approach these things, it's important to have all the people involved, whether that's on our team, or that's making sure that when we're working with districts, we're bringing everybody together, all the people who have impact, that we're bringing the right people to the table, so that we can approach this, going back to my plate analogy, right? So that we
Yes.
are bringing the diet of school with the right combinations for each child, not kids as a whole, but that we're actually looking at how to meet the needs of every student.
No, I like that. A more holistic approach from the lunch lady all the way through to the principal and the leadership of the school.
Yeah,
Incredibly
absolutely.
important. So building on that again, I think it's important to follow up with that. When districts are under pressure to adopt the next innovation, how should leaders evaluate whether it's actually empowering educators or reaching every student, or, what's sustainable, truly sustainable over time?
So I'm going to go back to the intentionality of anything we're bringing on board, right? So any kind of program, any kind of initiative, anything we're doing, we have to make sure we have the right people sitting at the table who can provide that. And sometimes that's having students at the table. Sometimes that's having educators, or both. Sometimes it's about bringing the right funding or the right operational people to the table to look at that. So when we're evaluating this, we have to be thinking constantly about, is the product or project or initiative sustainable? Is this something that's a one and done? Again, going back to that checklist. Am I just saying we've done this and it's gone? Like I'll use AI as an example, right? So AI is the big topic right now in schools, or
yes, we're gonna get into
cybersecurity.
that, yes.
Yeah. So as that happens, right, the question is, do I take one AI training and say, all right, we've done AI, we can move on now? right? The answer is
Is
no.
absolutely. Yes.
Right. But quite often, what we do in schools, in districts, and in school communities is we say, all right, we've already done this. We're going to move on to the next thing that pops up on our plate and move forward. And really and truly, it's about really thinking through how do we change mindsets? How do we change the work that we do? And change management is really and truly one of the hardest things we do in schools, and figuring out how to manage that. And it also shapes how kids look at change moving forward.
Very much so. So given your experience inside districts and now working with Dell, what do you think Dell brings to K through 12 leadership that feels most meaningful and most different?
So what I would say, again, I'm going to go back to the idea that we're going to come in as a trusted advisor, right? We're not here to lead off with a sales conversation, but really and truly thinking about how do we look at what challenges you're facing, and what kinds of issues can we help bring the right resources to help you solve those are. So looking at what kind of outcomes are you looking for, whether that's, again, cybersecurity, student achievement, educator effectiveness, any type of conversation that we're looking at. And then how do we, as Dell, provide the resources, whether those are available resources that are at no cost, or whether that's we're looking at particular solutions that Dell provides, or maybe it's just a conversation that we're having that really and truly is to help folks think differently.
That's important too.
Right.
I mean, we don't have enough of those conversations.
Very true. And I think one of the things that Dell can provide is that we're listening, right? We're listening. We're trying to make sure that we are meeting the needs rather than pushing an agenda.
I like that. Meeting the needs, the power of listening.
Yes.
How can we do that a little bit better?
I think being in the right rooms, right? So as Dell, we have to make sure we're talking to leaders in all forms, right? So we have to think about students as leaders, teachers as leaders, the different silos in a school district, the leadership there, and we have to look at things from multiple perspectives so that we are not creating additional blind spots or failed initiatives because we don't have everything and all the information that we need.
Oh, Marlo, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your perspective.
I appreciate it, and thank
Indeed.
you for having me, Kevin.
I really appreciate the practical lens that you brought, but also the very heartfelt perspective that you brought as well.
Well, thank you.